Reporting. Well, both Ms. Beckstrom and Mr. Wolf are members of the West Virginia National Guard. John McCuskey is that state's Attorney General. He joins us now on BBC News. And, we got that tragic news, of course, on Thanksgiving that Sarah Beckstrom had indeed passed away. How is she being remembered and honored in West Virginia?
So here in West Virginia, we have a long tradition and history of military service. We have more per capita service members than any other state in the country. And we also happen to be one of the most religious states in the country as well. And so there's a lot of veterans who are praying for her today, and there's a lot of families of veterans that are praying for her today. We have our flags at half staff, and I know that while this happened on Thanksgiving, we are a state full of very, very patriotic people. And I know that many of my fellow mountaineers, like I did, prayed and were thankful that we live in a place where we produce patriotic people like Sarah and like Andrew, who were willing to stand up, put on that uniform, and defend the American idea.
Yeah, you mentioned Andrew Wolf there, who was her patrol mate, who's was also injured in that shooting. Do you happen to have any more information, any updates on his status as of now?
The updates that I have are that he is still in very, very serious condition, but there have been some improvements, and the family can feel all the prayers coming in from all across this country, so keep them coming.
You mentioned that your state, West Virginia, has one of the highest rates of service of the National Guard. What do you make of what we've heard now from the Trump administration in response to this shooting, ordering an additional 500 National Guard members to be deployed to Washington, D.C.? Do you think that that's the right move?
It isn't my job to determine whether or not the president's military actions are correct. It is my job to defend his actions when they are constitutional. And he is well within his right as the president of the United States and as the commander-in-chief of the United States military to deploy our National Guard members to Washington, D.C., a city where every American deserves to feel safe and to see a shining example of what it means to be an American. The reason why that is so important is that in our representative democracy, citizens must have access to their government and their government officials. And if the city is too unsafe for people to come to that city to do that, it really erodes the American governmental experiment. And so if the president feels that that's how many people need to be there to keep Washington, D.C. safe for all Americans to come and join the government, then we will stand firm and ensure that his actions are deemed constitutional.
Authorities are saying, of course, that this was a targeted attack. We still don't know the exact motive yet, of course. But what does that say to you that somebody would want to deliberately target National Guard troops in a manner like this?
Well, first of all, it's infuriating. And second of all, the cowardice with which this monster showed in his ambush-style attack in broad daylight, mere blocks from the from the White House, shows just what a coward this person was. And it shows that whoever radicalized him, whenever he was radicalized, he was done so in a way that turned him into a murderous coward who was willing to ruin the lives of the people who defend the greatest country in the history of this earth in order to make some kind of a political statement. That's pathetic, and I am very, very seriously looking forward to him finding American justice and finding it swiftly and finding it in a way that ensures that he will never be lionized for this behavior and will never see the light of day in a civilized place again.
Obviously, just a very difficult time now, given the events of what took place on Wednesday. Do you have a sense right now, maybe, of the morale among the National Guardsmen from your state? I think that there was a sense that, even before this shooting happened, this has been a long deployment for some. There was a feeling, I think, that maybe the National Guard among a majority of the city, at least in Washington, D.C., was not welcome on the streets. Have you spoken with National Guardsmen? How are they doing? How are they feeling about this deployment?
Yeah, so I have a lot of friends in the National Guard. A lot of them are pilots and loadmasters in the Air Guard. And a lot of people have been to D.C. And I think what's important for your viewers to understand is that every West Virginia Guardsman that was in Washington, D.C. On Friday and on today and on Thursday and on Wednesday was there voluntarily. Their morale is very high. They take their orders from above. And that is part of what being a great member of the United States military means, is that you understand the chain of command and you do your duty. And what every single West Virginia National Guardsman has told me, and what the data backs up, is that Washington, D.C. is a safer, cleaner, easier place for Americans to be since they've been there. So they feel great about having accomplished their mission or beginning to accomplish their mission with violent crimes down, with burglaries down, with every metric of crime in D.C. falling very precipitously since their arrival. They understand that what they're doing is important, and they will rally around the lives of their two fallen comrades in a way that probably is hard for most people who aren't involved in service to understand.
John McCuskey, the West Virginia Attorney General, thank you very much for joining us on World News
Thank
America.
you, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there.
Same to you.